Penny Wolfgang, and on this edition of The Big Picture, I am officially a member of the Bills Mafia in joining everyone in our hometown, wishing our football team another playoff victory this Saturday night against the Baltimore Ravens. Joining us through Zoom technology is veteran sportscaster, host of our very own Beat the Champ bowling show, and co-founder of the website buffalosportspage.com, Paul Peck. In studio, we welcome a legendary Buffalo Bill who is part of championship teams in the 60s as a cornerback, Booker Edgerson. And Booker and Paul are going to talk together, as well as with me, about technical aspects of the game. So, thank you both for joining us today. Booker, let's start with you. What makes this Buffalo Bills team so special?
1 year, the experience that they got. They put a lot of people on that front line early with not a whole lot of experience. And this past year, they have gained experience that they needed. And the other addition was wide receivers. They gave Josh Allen the opportunity to use his mind and his arm. And that's what they're doing right now. They're doing a great job.
Yeah. Yes, yes, they are, Paul. The playoff frenzy we're in right now reminds us of 30 years ago when the Bills made it to the Super Bowl. How does the system work to get to the Super Bowl, the playoffs week, and everything like that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Penny. It does remind a lot of us of what it was like back in the 90s. And I'm so happy that this new generation of Bills fans gets to experience it for themselves and not be tired of hearing their parents or uncles or aunts tell them about what it was like back in the day. They can feel it themselves now. So obviously the Bills get the first playoff win out of the way, and it was a nail biter right down to the end against the Colts, but that's to be expected this time of year. Saturday at home against the Ravens, if the Bills win that, and let's assume that Kansas City wins their playoff game, then the Bills would go to Kansas City, and the winner of that game goes to the Super Bowl. Now, if by chance the Cleveland Browns keep their run going and go into Kansas City and win on Sunday, then guess what? If the Bills win, then the Bills would play the Browns, and that game would be here in Buffalo.
Oh, we hope. We did some research on Booker, so let me tell our viewers, in case they don't know, that Booker was in the playoffs 4 consecutive years in three straight AFL championship games when you beat the San Diego Chargers in 1964 and 1965. You were selected as an American Football League All-Star with 23 interceptions in your 8-year career in Buffalo, and second on 2, including one against what? Joe Namath? Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. You forced and returned a fumble for the deciding score in the 1969 game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Played in blizzard conditions, must have been here, I don't know. So let me ask you, with all of your experience, how is it different today than all of those championship and days that we talked about in 1969 and so forth?
Well, winning is winning, but it's the decades that builds the teams. It's bringing in guys, bringing in coaches, learning the game the way it's been playing today. Because one thing about it is you have to go out there and play the game. You can't talk it. And same thing happened in 64, 65 with our championship years. Same thing in the Super Bowl years with Jim Kelly and Andre Reed. They had to win. And that's what it is right now. You have to win. And these guys have put it all together, and they've done the things that they need to do. I am very surprised but very happy that they really disciplined themselves in this pandemic and stayed healthy and stayed available to play the games. And this is what's going to determine whether they win from this point on or drop out. I foresee them going all the way.
Well, I'm gonna save your prediction for the end of the show, but you know I'm gonna ask you that. Hey, Paul, what players do you see as being pivotal in the upcoming game, and why? And of course, including our one and only Josh Allen, who we've named the player of the week, year, month, and everything else, and renamed Allentown for.
Well, it starts with him, obviously, Penny, as it always does with the quarterback. But the fact that Josh is such a big part of everything the Bills do, honestly, he not only is he the key to their passing game, he's the key to their running game as well too. He's probably been their most effective runner this year, and just the sheer threat of his ability to run changes the way teams have to play defense against him. That first touchdown against the Colts was a classic play. It was a called pass. The pass wasn't open, so he tried to run. And as he continued to try to run and there wasn't a hole, then he all of a sudden flung it with his arms and passed it. So not a lot of quarterbacks can do all of that in one play. So that's what makes Josh so important. On the other side, I think some of the keys are going to be some of the linebackers for the Bills, Tremaine Edmonds, Matt Milano, because Lamar Jackson, the Ravens quarterback, is so dynamic, probably even a better, faster, more athletic runner than Josh is because he's a different sized person. But his ability to run is what the Ravens have been using to get their success the last 2 years. And it becomes very challenging for teams to play defense against him. So I think that's where the real test is for the Bills. They have to contain a guy that not a lot of teams have contained over the last couple of years.
Yeah, he is. It's amazing that the two quarterbacks have so much in common. Being drafted the same year and being amazingly good at running. It's unusual. Because in Jim's day, in your day, it was so different, the quarterback. I mean, Jim was just a different kind of quarterback.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
And but he also had competition out there. He had Dan Marino and those guys, Johnny Elway. So, there's always competition. I don't care what year, what decade it is. There's always going to be tough competition, not only at quarterback, but at all positions across the board. And this is what makes the National Football League so great, is that you have competitiveness all across the board. And in a lot of cases, you don't know what's going to happen until the end of the season and going into the playoffs. And now, who would ever have thought that the Cleveland Browns would be where they are right now? But I think everybody, especially in Western New York, thought the Buffalo would be in the playoffs this year. There was no doubt about it that they would not be in the playoff this year.
What are you writing about on your sports page, on your website? Are you writing about Bills?
It's the Bills. It's all Bills now. It's memories. It's, the Sabres are starting up again this week. So that's a topic that appeals to a lot of people. We've touched on a lot of college athletics, of course, with UB finishing a successful football season that they just wind up ranked in the top 25. So there's a lot of good stuff going on in Buffalo sports. It pains you that people can't enjoy it the way they want to. And be there in person, or at least as many of them there in person. But I know that hasn't stopped sports fans in this town from enjoying everything that's been going on.
Right. I was just going to get to that question. Booker mentioned it already to ask both of you. We've all been taking precautions against COVID, and part of that included the inability to go to a game up until the playoffs, and all sorts of protocols in place. So how has this impacted the team and the games this year?
Well, to me, it's trying to play a game without fans has to be tough, because it's almost like scrimmage, because you scrimmage with no fans. But you love to have some fans around cheering you on, looking at your accomplishments as you go along. That's different from practice, because now it's real. And I think that the pandemic has created a hold in that situation. But not only that the Bills, but the whole National Football League have handled this very well. They done a better job than I thought they was going to do. And I applaud them for what they've done. And I just hope that come Saturday, that the Bills, go out there and the fans cheer them on, and the Bills enjoy that and that noise that they have not been able to have all year long. And to me, as a former ball player, even though the crowd don't play the game, but they do have a big part in it.
Yeah, I think so. And the team says that too. What do you think, Paul?
Well, I mean, it stinks that Bills fans can't be there and can't enjoy this and revel in it the way that we know they do and know they can, and that makes me sad. I was happy to see fans get there, and they were louder than I thought they would be with only, 6,700 of them there this past weekend. But on the flip side, if you're trying to kind of look for a positive in all that, I think in some ways, as Booker alluded to, brought the team closer together in many ways, knowing that it is sort of, it's all them and they've got to all be together. They've got to follow the rules. They've got to follow what the NFL has told them to do in order to keep playing. And, you know, and maybe that's the positive of all this. And it's hard to find any positives in it, but maybe in some ways it's helped the players focus a little more on the task at hand week to week and what they need to do. Maybe fewer distractions just in life in general. Maybe that's the only little bit of silver lining in the way this season has kind of fallen into place.
Who was it? Diggs, one of the players, said it sounded like there were 20 to 30,000 people, and there were only, you know, 6,000, whatever. It was, I was laughing when he said that. Well, when we come back, we're going to continue to get the big picture on our hometown team, the Buffalo Bills. So please stay with us.